And hello, it is Alby and Dr. Mittens here casting a Captain's Mode game, which I have very high expectations of as the replay already has 3 likes.
3, count them 3.
3! Enormous. Probably the number of views this video is going to get, but anyway. It has also been described as the best game the person posting has ever played.
Well, I mean, the Dota 2 community is never wrong in my experience.
No.
So this should be outstanding. I think he's going to be the new Dandy, I'm sure. It'll be great.
I'm sure it will be. So, are we
to
good to go? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Count us in.
All right. Starting in 3, 2, 1, and go.
Sweet. We are on. And so far, from the Dire team, we have picks of Wisp and Bloodseeker. Wisp kind of falling out of the meta in my experience with the nerf on its stun through the tether.
Yeah.
But definitely excited to see it here. I think it should be pretty interesting. And Timbersaw and Death Prophet being picked up for the Radiant. So, yeah, I mean, Timbersaw, very strong hero. I'm a Timbersaw fan. Just so durable and can really dish out the damage and really control space well, I find. And Death Prophet a really good pushing hero, of course, and quite a strong mid as well.
Yep, absolutely. I think another thing to look at here is the Radiant have banned out a Warlock who's not seen any play in the professional scene for ever and ever and ever. So, also confused. Not sure that the Dire needed to spend their first pick on the Wisp. You talked about how far the Wisp has fallen. I think I can only think of one 6.79 game where I've seen a Wisp in professional play. It's just not in the meta anymore. I can see already the potential use with a Bloodseeker and the way that they've... what's that called? It's not Thirst. It is Thirst, yeah. They've rescaled his Thirst. They've given him that global vision, and that could potentially be incredibly powerful with a Wisp.
For sure. Global vision definitely going to be a help there.
Yeah, absolutely. So I can see some great synergy already with the two heroes, but just not sure that they needed to spend their picks like this. Perhaps if they have more conventional heroes within their strategy, they could have picked those first and... not shown their hand quite as much.
Yeah, the Wisp can be, I suppose, counted to some degree. But what would you say? I guess heroes who can do burst damage and also who are durable enough to escape those ganks with the Wisp.
Sounds like Timbersaw.
It does. It sounds like Timbersaw and also Death Prophet, whose ultimate is now, that Exorcism is now absolutely ridiculous.
It's off the chain.
It really is. It does incredible lifesteal. So...
Lifesteal.
Yeah. Well, it gives health back.
It steals
whatever you call it. It does steal the life and later deposit it within the Death Prophet, so I'd call that a kind of stealing of life.
Oh, yeah, beautifully handled.
Anywho, Centaur Warrunner being picked up now on the Dire side.
Reserve time.
So, yeah, a good durable hero. I think complements the pick so far rather well. I mean, you can't have too much speed, I don't suppose.
No, I mean, the globality, if that's a word, of Stampede is going to assist the Wisp and Bloodseeker in getting off those kills. But, once again, not a terribly common pick in the meta. So, it's hard to say. I'm not sure if these are 5 stacks. It might just be people yelling out heroes that they like the best and the captain obliging them.
It may well be.
How the strategy pans out for them.
I do like the ban of Elder Titan from the Radiant side. It's just a very strong hero, and I think one that would have worked well on the Dire team, especially seeing as they don't really have a mid at the moment. It'll be interesting to see who they pick up as their mid. I mean, Bloodseeker can go mid, but at the moment he's kind of looking like he might be their carry.
Mirana.
And Mirana being picked there.
It'll be interesting. I think you could already see the makings of a tri-lane with the Dire team. If you put Centaur with increased speed, slow someone down, stomp on top of them, silence them with Bloodseeker, get all the orbs flying from Wisp. I mean, there's some decent kill potential there.
Yeah.
If you get your combinations right. It will be difficult with Wisp being a ridiculously squishy hero and their only ranged
10 seconds
to
go.
I think there is some potential here so far as Tri-Lane's concerned, and now the Dire team have picked up a Skywrath Mage, even as the Radiant take Mirana.
Yeah, Skywrath Mage very strong hero, I think. I think somewhat underrated, but his spells just do ridiculous damage. Again, another squishy hero, so they kind of do have the extremes here with very durable heroes and very squishy heroes. It'll be interesting to see how that works out for them, especially with like Mirana, Timbersaw, and Death Prophet, as we say, all able to deal out a lot of damage very quickly. Starfall also a very strong nuke spell.
Yeah. I think Skywrath is a pretty quality pick against Timbersaw. If you manage to get your silence off first, Timbersaw becomes a lot squishier. He can't Timber Chain through and just outlast you with all his AoE damage. And then if you're able to land your really big nukes on him, reactive armor has very low effect.
Yeah.
So I think it's a really nice pickup for the Dire team here. But
interesting that Timbersaw and Skywrath kind of counter each other, because if Timbersaw does manage to get in close, Skywrath will melt in half a second, and that will be the end of that. But yeah, and the Sacred Arrow as well can be a bit of an issue with Skywrath Mage. If he cops one of those, he's going to be dead very quickly.
Now, looking for a last pick for the Dire team, I actually think a Lifestealer would be great here. I mean, Lifestealer has natural synergy with the Wisp being able to infest in, turn those 2-man ganks into 3-man ganks. I think that's incredibly powerful. The Bloodseeker, with his move speed, can get away, so the Wisp can take the Lifestealer back again when the relocate is finished.
Yeah.
And also, they're looking for a really hard carry. They're lacking it so far. If you check a Skywrath mid, have a tri-lane. I think that'd be really effective, a Lifestealer in this particular situation, but we'll just see how they want to play it. Lifestealer also fairly good against a Timbersaw. The Rage nerf, 2-second increase, does make it, a little less good, but, and the physical damage from Death Prophet certainly doesn't help. But I don't know, that's the pickup that I'm looking for here. We'll just see if they agree with me.
Yeah, I think that it would be a good pick, as you say. Not sure. It really could be a number of things, though. They could choose someone to go mid, although I guess Skywrath can go mid. I don't think that we'll see a mid Bloodseeker. So yeah, I'm not quite sure how they're going to lane it. Maybe they'll just be looking to fill out their lanes. Someone who can, it just depends how where they're looking to put the heroes that they've already got. I think that maybe even okay, they go with Tiny. I was going to say maybe Naga Siren could be good, but yeah, Tiny, another strong hero with lots of health. Maybe we'll see him go mid now.
Yeah, we could well do, and Tiny, not quite as classical as a CK Wisp combination, but of course everyone knows about the crazy burst damage that a Tiny can do, and I think they're finding some really good picks to go nicely with this Wisp. They've got the Bloodseeker showing you where they are, Centaur Warrunner will get you there, and the Tiny will explode them. So some really nice synergy with that Wisp pick.
And Rupture pretty strong as well with that. Stop them running away.
Absolutely. Final pick now coming out for the Radiant team. They look like they're probably a support short at this stage. Mirana's been used primarily as a carry in 6.79. You can see maybe Timbersaw going into an offlane, and they disagree.
Yeah, very much so. So if we see a mid Death Prophet, which I think that we probably will, they're very short of support characters. So I guess we might see a Mirana support.
Yeah, I think we'd have to at this stage. Yeah.
Hopefully, we can hope that we see a Mirana support, because otherwise, Jakiro is going to be extremely impoverished.
Oh, yeah, no, I don't think he's going to have wealth. I think that's something we can look for him to not have.
Yeah, I think so. Okay, let's go around these teams then. And we see here on the Radiant side, Yo-Yo Calf, what the fuck power, on the Lifestealer heading bottom into the safe lane. Jakiro with the open square brackets, looking like he's going to be supporting him, but perhaps Irie on the Mirana taking over that role. Death Prophet does look like it's going to go mid, that's Nostalgist, and Kunkalek going up top on the Timbersaw. We might actually see a tri-lane bot from the Radiant here.
Yeah, and looks like it could be some kind of tri-lane on tri-lane action here. Looks like we have Bloodseeker, maybe taking up the mid. Centaur Warrunner being handled by a bag of chips going to the safe lane. Tiny will be running the tri-lane with Blizz Don't Kill, Alec West on the IO, and random all day, every day, a man after my own heart, looks like they're looking to put on some early aggression and control this first rune if it does spawn bottom.
So the arrow has been picked up here on the Mirana, as I suppose you would expect. We might look to... They might be looking for that here, as the entire Die team is heading mid on this rather deep Death Prophet. Perhaps just checking that the tower was actually there, has managed to lose half her health to it.
Interesting. She's discovered the tower there.
She has scouted it out very well. She's actually losing 90% of her health. Make that 95, she's dead. Well, I don't know what to think there. That is the misclick of a lifetime or something.
And away we go.
Okay, anyway, let's look at the bottom here. We have Skywrath Mage scouting out the Jakiro, and he's getting a little bit of a smack. We might see an arrow.
No more bets, please.
No, she's not going to fire off the arrow in the end.
Yeah. Can I get a time check there, Albie?
I am at 15 seconds.
Okay, I'm just a second behind. There we go.
Yeah, all good?
Yep, all good.
Sweet. So the Wisp getting a little deep here, with the Jakiro actually opting to pick up its Dual Breath first rather than the Ice Path. That's okay.
Aliquid in a little bit of trouble here, using that massive range on Bateva just to get herself out of trouble. Itself. Let's go with itself.
Yeah, whatever it is.
It does take a little bit of harass damage, and its harass damage is going to hurt more than everyone else's because she hits no armor. Okay, no armor. That's what I'm
Definitely not, and not picking up any extra strength items either. Often you see a
breath being laid down on the Wisp now. And
the arrow there going on the Skywrath, but they're not going to be able to follow it up. So a bit of a waste in the end. It does cost a massive amount of mana for Mirana, who really has extremely slow mana regen early, and does have real mana problems even with that one spell. So an interesting lane top as well with these two extremely durable heroes. They shouldn't have too much problem. Neither of them should really have too much of a problem early. Once Timbersaw levels up his Timber Chain and his Whirling Death here, we might see him able to have a go on that Centaur Warrunner.
Yeah, he can put down some aggression, but the Centaur Warrunner's opted for the early boots as well as a Ring of Protection. Now into Tranquil Boots.
Tranquil Boots, very fast.
If you don't kill him dead immediately, he's just going to be really, really difficult to kill because of the way those Tranquil Boots now work. He can just walk away for 15 seconds and come back with full health.
And there it is, yeah. Exactly.
Bloodseeker doing a really nice job in the mid lane. He picked up that Quelling Blade. Nostalgist was trying to just right-click him down, but unfortunately for him, Bloodbath is too strong.
Yeah, Bloodbath's really strong mid.
Yeah, he's just getting ruined here.
Yeah.
Absolutely ruined.
Even discounting that like instant sacrifice to the tower, which can't have helped, but I don't know what that was.
No, I don't know what that was either. maybe putting some aggression onto Nostalgist. This could be an early kill. I think just as soon as maybe hit 6, he's going to be going hell for leather with this Death Prophet. And
now we see the Wisp and Skywrath Mage moving around a bit. Skywrath Mage picking up that double damage rune. Scouting through the trees. They're not going to find Jakiro, but they probably, they are in a bad position now, really. If Mirana notices this, an arrow on the Wisp could be really bad news. Actually going on the aggressive here. This is... Oh dear.
Oh god, they've been exploded upon.
Well, the Tiny does come in and manage to get off a good toss on that Mirana and take him out, but really that was a terrible piece of positioning by the Dire tri-lane bot.
Yep,
Tiny was not there in the slightest.
Oh no. They were kind of unfortunate. The concussive shot released by Skywrath, but you don't get control on who that targets, and it went to the lifesteal. If it had gone to the Mirana, meanwhile Death Prophet being dived here by the Wisp, Bloodseeker going to pick up that kill.
And just barely surviving that last tower shot.
He'll be on full health soon enough.
He will. He'll be totally fine.
Stupid hero.
Oh dear.
Oh, look at that. That's gross. Timbersaw doing a really nice job in the top lane. It's trading farm, but he is managing to get the better of the last hits so far.
Yep.
And is able actually to get a decent amount of harass out onto this Centaur Warrunner. So I think once again, as with the mid lane, it's going to be level 6 where we see the real damage coming through. But actually, as I speak, Alaquesh on the roaming Wisp is coming in, perhaps looking to help out his buddy and get another early kill.
Yeah, it's not in the best position, I wouldn't say, but maybe he's coming around now into a more sensible one. No, he's just sort of roaming mid. Oh, and the Rupture going down mid on the Death Prophet.
Oh no, maybe diving way too
dear.
fast with this.
He
I
really
don't think
is.
he'll be able to get it. He's not
Dear,
gonna
he's gonna
go.
go down. Just a little too eager there. Yeah, it was very close, but not quite enough.
Yeah, I think he just needs to have a little bit more patience there. Just wait until he can control the creep wave because of Bloodbath giving him all his health back.
Yeah, exactly. He could have just left it and then... Oh, Arrow going in on Tiny and in fact hitting him. Mirana, yeah, wisely getting out of there. It's always very tempting to chase those arrows even if you don't really have a good chance of getting the kill. And you can often get yourself into more trouble than it's worth.
Meanwhile, Centaur Warrunner falling to the Timbersaw top. That's a solo kill.
Definitely missed that, but there you go.
I really don't feel like that should happen.
You know the
He is
drill.
maxing out return, so didn't have much damage to try and attack the Timbersaw if he wanted to. Now the Timbersaw gets his early arcane boots. Is going to be a really difficult lane for the Centaur Warrunner to maintain a presence in. He's only level 5, while the Centaur Warrunner, the Timbersaw is always halfway through level 7.
Yeah, definitely a long way behind now. Speaking of a long way behind, the Wisp and the Jakiro level 3 and 2 respectively. The Wisp has been roaming around a whole lot, and the Jakiro I guess has been jungling where the life
Rupture being put in, and now the Death Prophet pops off his Wisp. He's chasing after a Bloodseeker. You can't do that. Are you not familiar with this hero? But, in the end, the Bloodseeker's gonna lose a lot of health. He's gonna lose his final piece of regen, and Death Prophet just loses the cooldown on Exorcism and some mana. Not nearly such a bad trade for the Death Prophet. So I think Crucilis, as it used to be called, gained the better of that exchange.
And she should get her health all back when the ghosts return to her, so it should be quite okay for her. Meanwhile, down bottom, the whole Dire Traylane. Oh well, that throw throws the Wisp in there.
Game of throws in a whole new way.
Does not care. Oh, that arrow! And throws it again.
This is excellent sequence.
The Tiny showing reckless indifference to the life of the Wisp, just hurling it in there.
Reckless endangerment. I think that's like a $1,500 fine at least on the Tiny.
Oh, yeah. Like life imprisonment, probably.
Yeah.
Hurling it to its death, and now throwing the Skywrath in. The Skywrath will also
Live.
The Skywrath will go down as well. And this Tiny, guilty of double homicide, you would have to say. That's.
I think so. Yet to get a kill with these homicide tosses on the enemy.
He did actually get the life stealer, did he not?
No, I believe he got the Mirana really early on, just after the first blood, in an exchange on the bottom lane.
Did the life stealer not die there? Oh my god. Well.
I don't think so.
Oh, he did. He did.
Oh, he did. That must have been
He did. Yeah. He did get it with the second Wisp throw, but. Yeah. Certainly killing 2 heroes to kill 1, so.
Skywrath must have gotten the nearly first blood. Never mind that.
Never mind that. And now we see the Bloodseeker going top to try and sort out this Timbersaw, who is spiraling out of control to some degree. We see on the last hits right up there with the Bloodseeker, and doing very well with that 1 kill as well. So here comes the Bloodseeker. He does have Rupture off cooldown, and it's looking very bad for the Timbersaw.
Very bad, not good, certainly not happy.
No,
and
that's the end
he's
of him.
dead. He's dead.
Yeah, a quality gank there by the Bloodseeker. He saw the opportunity, Rupture's off cooldown. You really should be able to take out just about anyone on the map if they don't have teammates with them. The arrow now going down on the Skywrath Mage.
Just manages to dodge the ice path, so finding some space where none appeared to be available down in that river.
Yep, indeed. And Ward's just about to go down for the Dire team here.
Yep, Bloodseeker now ferrying him out what appears to be the makings for a 4-star. One of the cheesiest item combinations in all of Dota.
Absolutely god-awful in my opinion.
I don't like playing against it. I don't like using it myself. It's just one of those things I wish weren't there anymore. Force Staff shouldn't trigger Rupture. But hey, that's just me talking. And that looks like what maybe, just maybe...
And Timbersaw, top, going on this Skywrath Mage and the Centaur here, getting too deep for his own good.
I think he might be okay. I think he's going to ruin them all.
Well, Centaur is very low. Unfortunate mids on that Chakram. Oh dear, he could have had it. He's still in though. Skywrath Mage doing its absolute best to do damage, but...
Skywrath is out of mana.
Oh
and
dear.
Skywrath out of mana doesn't kill Timbersaw.
No, certainly not.
Now in the bot lane. Chucks out the Rupture onto Lifestealer. He tries to rage through it. He doesn't understand. Rupture doesn't. I think it's HP removal.
And now the Tiny coming in as well with the Wisp and hurling more shit around. Those orbs, and that should be the end. Oh, he tested a creep at the last minute. Should be the end of him still. He's surrounded by 3 heroes.
Oh, he's dead alright.
And the arrow coming in, missing everyone.
Just check the toss cooldown on Tiny. That's when something.
Yeah, and there it is again! And the Death Prophet has come across to try and help. May take out the Wisp and does with those ghosts, but yeah, not a good trade for the Radiant.
They're still putting some aggression on the Tiny. Ice Palm's gonna Wisp. He's gonna TP away until the
TP works out. And yeah, well done by the Dire team, basically. And yeah, interesting that the mid-Dire tower has taken precisely, well, hardly any damage at all. When you have a Death Prophet there. Yeah, to be precise, hardly any damage. Yeah, you would really think that the Death Prophet should have been pushing that tower, particularly considering that the Bloodseeker has been off-ganking quite a bit in this game. So, yeah, with a Death Prophet, it's really good to get those early towers. It benefits your entire team. There's no reason not to be pushing. And it looks like she's opting to go for the mech now, which is good, seeing as they do have that lack of hard supports.
Yeah, I think people underrate picking up their mechanisms on a whole lot of fairly unusual heroes. Aaron not finding the mark on top lane.
Yep.
We'll keep thinking about that.
Timber Chain also not quite finding the mark, but a very good Ice Path should be enough to clean up this Skywrath.
And meanwhile, it looks like Bloodseeker managed to find the first relocate gank of the game, picking off Lifestealer on the bottom lane.
Cool.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, picking up mechanism on some slightly unusual heroes, particularly stuff like your Razors, your Vipers, it's got as much utility so far as being alive as a Vanguard, essentially, because of the range block not being nearly so effective. And you get to heal your team. So I think it's a really underrated item. You pick it up early.
Yeah, definitely.
Moonlight Shadow now being cast. It looks like there's some
aggression. Oh, that Skywrath is in a terrible position! And is getting everything thrown at it. Oh, these timber chains are not quite on point today. Arrow coming in on the Bloodseeker. That should be enough to take him out. Oh, the Force Staff actually coming in useful to escape.
Tiny now making his presence felt in the fight. He managed to toss something that wasn't his own hero into death. So that's an improvement, I would say.
It is an improvement, and somehow everyone except for the Skywrath getting out alive there.
Yeah, a lot of bloodshed, but not many decapitations.
And now the Death Prophet does take out mid tower, so that's
Dire weren't partial to that mid tower.
Death Prophet, similar to Clinks in some ways, she can just pop her ultimate, kill tier 1 towers on her own because of the lack of backdoor protection, and then be on full health when her ult runs out. So exactly the same as Clinks. You know, it's just a really good tower pushing hero, and can transition decently well into the late game with the way that Silence is just so incredibly long. When you get Witchcraft and Silence working together, your Silence in half of the time in a pretty decent, it was a 350 radius. So it's a really, I think, underappreciated hero, but is finding some flame in Numa and now relocate, going on to YOLO, what the fuck, power, bag of chips being brought in by the Wisp, maybe, just maybe, chasing him down, he's a Bloodseeker.
Oh dear, not a good TP in by the Jakiro, who will probably be taken out as well, although the Death Prophet coming in with a well-timed Silence.
Beautiful arrow hitting on bag of chips, and Timbersaw going to nuke him down. Bloodseeker manages to pick up a Jakiro.
Oh, that Force Staff, almost coming in useful, but not really.
Does manage to pick up Crobilus in the end, and now he's going to try and escape being chased down, and he will eventually fall. A hell of a lot of money going the way of Timbersaw, ending back Mega Kill. And,
Good arrow attempts for
Aluquette
picking out
now-
last creep, and Aluquette should be fine, but I would be well out if I was
Oh yeah, I
Aluquette
think
and
it's time to
Skywrath.
leave.
Yeah, time to
You
get
know
out of
what
there.
else I think it's time for? And maybe this is controversial. I think it's time
Radiant's
for boots.
bottom tower.
Yeah,
in a pretty
I would
sad
say so,
right now.
although Mech before Boots, I don't know. I mean, Mech is very good, and this poor Wisp is very
Radiant's
impoverished.
bottom tower's seen better
Yeah.
days.
Well, that being said, I understand why you might want to get it. You're a hyper-aggression, dive early type team.
Mm.
I feel like you might want boots.
Yeah, I think that Wisp has kind of given up on escaping and gone for the whole I'll be in with my team and then die. I won't need boots. I'll be like there's no chance of escape. And is
Yeah,
instead going
yeah.
for Mech for a bit of extra, well, potential survivability for the rest of the team, not for itself.
Oh,
I-
no.
I don't know.
The only reason Wisp uses the mech on 1 health is because he knows once it dies, it's not going to be able to. It doesn't
And
want
now
to.
another relocate, but it's seen by the Jakiro and a good ice pass. But it's going to get taken out regardless.
Let's do something
Yeah,
about that
decides
bottom
not to get
tower.
out of there. And that's what we were talking about right in the draft stage. Tiny plus Wisp, really classic combination.
Guys,
Central
bottom
War Runner,
tower's getting the business.
global presence using his Stampede. So really nicely executed strategy coming
The
out.
Central War Runner does have his blink now, so that's a good addition as well. That Stomp Initiate can be really strong.
Yeah. It'd be nice to see him have a couple more levels in Double Edge. I don't think Return scales well at all at early levels. So I think definitely wouldn't be my particular skill choice, but we'll see if
Yeah.
it pays off for him.
Yeah, Double Edge extremely strong, especially against squishy
It's like
heroes.
a gank coming down bottom. Moonlight Shadow being popped off. Aluquette on the Wisp first of all. Now Krabilas pops off his Exodus, chasing down this Tiny. Open wounds being put onto the Tiny. Skywrath trying to have an impact, but can't do it against a raged up Lifestealer. And that's
PP in. He's got to be careful that Central War Runner, but they're
Oh,
back
yeah.
okay. Yeah, well, you see there, the Wisp instantly popping. Boots would not have made much difference there, so maybe good that it has a buckler. I don't know. Oh, a good arrow on the Skywrath, and half of his health just instantly disappears. They are going to go on that, as they should, and that'll be the end of the
Radiant's
Skywrath.
top tower's in bad
Yeah.
shape. Guess what's happening?
another tier 1 tower gonna fall as well. Blitz being used here, but I can't imagine they're gonna be able to
No,
save this.
I wouldn't have thought so, but the Bloodseeker is here and lands the Rupture down on the
Blink
Wisp.
initiation.
The Wisp, so keen, and does take out the Timbersaw with those orbs.
That's beautifully done, and now the toss going on to the Lifestealer.
Very
Lovely
good
ice
ice
path
path.
picking up
Yeah.
4, and they're still chasing
And
now.
the
They will be
relocate.
able to use the tether to get all that speed, and they've relocated in. They want even more.
They're under tower with 4 enemy heroes here. Oh, a good Blink Stomp, and that'll be the end of the
lovely.
Lifestealer.
And the Wisp gets the double kill, but it doesn't actually want, because that means less money going to its carries, and no Wisp wants that. I just want you to be happy.
The Wisp wants them the slightest, but now does have enough for Mechanism and Boots. This
Oh, how
Wisp could
bourgeois.
just have everything. Doesn't
Oh.
need to choose. Sweet. So, yeah, a decent recovery there by the Dire, I suppose. The Radiant, I guess, should have been out a bit faster, but honestly, I was pretty surprised that the Dire managed to
Radiant's
turn that
bottom
around as well
tower's
as they
seen better
did.
days.
A rather late Midas going down on the
Radiant's
Marana.
down and fortified
Yeah.
their structures.
If
Trouble brewing
there are any
Radiant's
fans of
bottom
mine,
tower.
you'll know from every cast I've ever done, I'm just screaming about these damn Midas.
There goes
Get them
Radiant's
out!
bottom
They are
Get it
filth,
out.
but that doesn't stop you from buying them. So,
Oh yeah, that's because I'm carrying your
and
lazy
that is
butt.
ooh, so close on the arrow.
Yeah.
But yeah, I hate the Midas. I think it's
Top
like
tower's
just in
getting
general
beat
for the
down.
game, not as a strategic choice. Like it's a reasonable strategic choice in many situations. I just think it's boring for the game in general. But anywho, a Midas this late,
You know the drill.
I'm not a fan, honestly.
No, I don't believe in catch-up Midas, and especially Crystal Maiden Midas. Just get out.
Yeah.
I'm sick of Crystal Maiden Midas. It's just horrible, but people have been watching their program now. Relocate gank going onto the light stealer around the
Very strong. That
Around
is
the
just
ancient.
so destructive. Chakram coming in, and well, that's some serious damage going down on the Tiny, but that Mechanism by throwing the Wisp in again, just doesn't care, and bouncing back into base. A very good spot there, and some good wards by the Dire team. Although they do have
Radiant's
2
top
wards
tower
which are
is
overlapping about 90%, but you know, still a good ward, and it is being de-warded now.
Instantly, as it would be, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. They have been warding quite nicely, and now the Mirana, you're a support, just
Yeah.
don't do it.
Yeah. No, don't do it.
Anywho,
She's done it. It's gone.
she has gone and done it. She's starting to build like a carry. She's just about 10 minutes behind schedule.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know.
And we look at the net worth chart. She's not doing that badly. She's about mid-table with almost 5k net worth. But Bloodseeker has had a really massive presence in this game. He's picked up a Sanjin Yasha already, as well as his 4-staff and phase boots. So, he's going to be glitching around the map with his speed, and if you're below half health, you can't be on the map anymore, which is really going to frustrate the likes of Timbersaw and Lifestealer, who are...
And now it looks like he is going to find this Mirana. Maybe not.
Maybe
Oh,
Mirana...
that is a dangerous ward to be placing. She is going to get the rupture. No, she's not. She
No,
manages
she's trying to get out of there. And now the time
relocate.
Hero, Moonlight Shadow up top, the Exorcism being popped off by the Death Prophet, 4-staff with Rupture on top, and he's gonna pop. Skyrath Mage taking damage from the Timbersaw, and now the
that
Tiny
miss on
Blast
that
tossing
Skyrath ult. And
back to Chips,
Timbersaw
chasing
getting
down.
out courtesy of the Invis, but it's going to run out now.
Fading now, and
The
Rupture
Stomp
has
is
a
back
way
up, and the Blink. He should be able to get it here.
missing on that. Really unfortunate back of Chips. Another lovely Ice Path Jakiro on the run now, though. And
Please
Tiny
don't kill.
have it-
Looks like he wants to get out of there.
Yeah, I think in the end, now the Varan is chasing down that Centaur, but he'll escape. I think the biggest misplay there was the Centaur. I'm not sure if he had mana for it, but he used his Blink Dagger in perfect position to get off a hook stomp, and not sure.
He didn't have the
check
mana.
Yeah, didn't check it, but I don't think he did. That's the most likely explanation. And
Yeah.
just unable to secure the kill there on the Timbersaw. Not that it still would have been a tricky kill, seeing as Tiny spells won't cooldown, but I think they might have had it.
Surprised how much more gold the Bloodseeker has than the Tiny. Like, Bloodseeker has his, as we've said, his 4-staff and his Sanjin Yasha, whereas the Tiny only has mana boots and the Yasha. Yeah, so
He does have 2.5k in the bank.
Oh, he does have 2.5k in the bank indeed. But still, that early last hitting from the Bloodseeker showing its worth.
Yep. Getting some dividends there. Now, what looks like, is that a smoke gank? Yeah, it's a smoke gank from the Jakiro and Lifestealer. Interesting combination. Midas off cooldown. No aggressive items on the
No, and this is not going to work because the entire Dire team is grouped up in the mid lane. And even, oh no, no. That is just a waste of time.
Yeah, it's not ended up working.
Like, did they miss with their smoke? They only got 2 of them who don't... I wouldn't say they have a huge amount of ganking potential. A Lifestealer and Jakiro, not the biggest nukers.
Mirana arrow gonna hit. Lovely arrow hitting on the Bloodseeker, and they should chase this one.
The relocate coming in, straight into the Ice Path.
Oh, no,
she didn't bring anything with her.
Exorcism going, and Nostalgia's just gonna pop instantly.
Well,
that Exorcism going down the
mech,
train.
that did a huge
The
hit.
BM! Look at it!
And so they are not okay, not in the slightest. The Timbersaw also going to get absolutely destroyed. A bit of a mistake there with the Wisp. Oh, it actually TP'd from base where there was no one else. So I guess it was intentional, but really going into the front line completely alone. But that mech just really turning that fight around, I think.
Yeah, but Wisp with a double proc because of healing yourself and your target, and then the tethered. It all does magic, and somehow you're on more health than you used to be. Really effective in that particular instance. Does look though the Wisp is going for phase boots, which isn't. I'm not a Wisp player, but I didn't think that that's what Wisp players got.
No, I wouldn't have thought so. I would have thought anything but, honestly. I mean, extra survivability from treads, and obviously mana boots and tranquil boots would make sense. So I would say that phase boots are the worst possible boots for Wisp. But then again, I'm not a Wisp player either. Maybe he has some secret plan that we will see in the coming minutes, as we have seen before. Remember that phase boot Warlock in the other game? He had plans. He had plans for those phase boots.
Yeah, he had. I would go with dubious foresight. We called it foresight at the time, but I think we were kind in the end. I think
so, but maybe we'll see more dubious foresight from this Wisp. Although at the moment he's looking in a terrible position. Oh, that warding. Warding is to be lauded, but warding like that is just stupid. And now it's going to get de-warded, so really it was all for absolutely nothing. It was just a feed. He was asking for it and he got it.
He was asking for it and he did get it, but he is putting a lot of economic pressure onto the supports of Radiant. And when I say supports, I mean Jakiro. It's exclusively the square brackets of Jakiro. It's squarely on his shoulders. Haha, I've done it. He's been putting wards all around the bottom room. He knows that there's a ward there earlier, and he just spent what must have been at least 300 gold on sentries, and most of them were overlapping, just scouring.
He wanted that ward bounty when he finally got that observer ward. He was so happy, and the Mirana Midas off cooldown.
Don't even talk to me about it. I don't even want to hear it.
Skywrath Mage in an interesting position. What is he buying? He's got his Void Stone there.
Void Stone and Ring of Radiance.
Yeah, I'm like, does that turn into anything at all? I don't think so.
Nothing springs to mind. No, Moonlight Shadow, and it looks like there's going to be a similar progression. Maybe just maybe needs to get the hell out of dodge.
Yeah.
Just manages to get away from that Ice Path with his Go-Go Boots, Sanjin Yasha.
And the Invis being popped here.
Now Mirana,
Mirana wants something. He's going to give away its position with these creeps.
They will spot Tiny out with this Cliff Ward, but I don't think they'll be able to do anything about it. Now maybe pop the Rusher onto a close bracket. He's only buying wards, give him a chance.
Oh, a close arrow, unfortunate miss on that one. And now they're going in with this Wisp slow. Tiny toss him in. The Blood Tickle will go down. Oh, massive damage with that Chakram. I don't know why the Timbersaw got out of there. He could have. Oh, they do get the Skywrath down anyway. And the arrow just gonna miss.
Tiny still not out of dodge. Open wound is off cooldown.
Just cooldown.
Just get to him. And he wants a piece. He got
it.
That's 4.
Mirana is level 2.
Tell me he didn't have the mana for rage.
Oh, I think he might have had mana for rage.
I think he might have. Oh dear, he got the toss, that's for sure.
Oh yeah.
Well, unfortunate losses of those last two heroes from what was a fantastic team fight from the Radiant there, and one that they really needed to win.
Yeah, I couldn't believe how much work the Timbersaw was doing. That diving in and out of
right in the middle.
That's going to put out so much damage. You add in a Whirling Death, 250 plus the 15% stat loss, which is just so underrated in pubs. Against something like a Centaur War Runner, taking away 15% of his strength is gonna equal like 100 extra damage minimum. Yeah, sure. And the Relocate Gang coming in with the Skywrath of all people. The Skywrath! Yay! Everyone gets a turn, and Aliquid, I would ask him if he was okay at this point. Moonlight Shadow being popped off. They've got the Rupture as well. They need a little bit more damage, and then they can see him. Beautifully done. Rotating 4 for that kill, but against this Timbersaw, taking away his Bloodstone charges, I think that'd be worth it. Oh, for sure. Yeah, definitely a really good pick-off. Yeah. I do slightly fear for the Radiant team in the late game. I think Death Prophet, Mirana with a Midas, and Timbersaw can all have some decently high impact in going into the late game. But Wisp is going to become food. Skywrath Mage without farm, going to become food. Bloodseeker, much less effective once the Rupture loses its efficacy. Yep. Centaur War Runner less effective. Even Tiny. He has built an Axe, so he is looking more toward that carry build, not a Blink Dagger, but instead an Aghanims, perhaps now working towards his own Sanjin Yasha and Mantis style. There are plenty of options for Tiny. Yeah, all those kinds of things. So, yeah, it really is on the Tiny's shoulders increasingly as we move into the late game or into the mid game. Yeah. But Lifestealer, I think, is going to be scary, and he is moving slowly but steadily up these net worth charts. Yeah, he is going back for an armlet, and I say back because really at this stage, I think that's not a sort of logical, upward progression in an item. Oh no. Armlet's been massively nerfed as well. Relocate gank on the Timbersaw is going to Timber Chain out, and well, 4 stars to his death. Aliquid is gonna die, he's gonna live, 3 seconds left, he needs to get out of
mech!
the
No! How?
Wisp, he didn't take the dual breath damage. He didn't take the damage over time, so he will end up living. And no BM coming out from him this time, but that was...
That was extremely close.
That was... I'm gonna go lucky. I'm gonna stick with lucky. And now Plus Don't Kill has right-clicked on Maybe Just Maybe, and they are just in lockstep with one another. And I think Mirana could be in a whole lot of
there's the
trouble.
Blink Stomp, and that is not good in the slightest.
Oh,
Hurls him in!
forward
The
and
stun
roll.
hitting as well. And that will be the end of Mirana 3 times over. Yeah, Timbersaw getting a little unlucky there as well, getting ruptured just before he used his Timber Chain, which drained about 80% of his health, and then getting 4-staffed for the rest of it. So, yeah, definitely not the best for Timbersaw.
No. And after a decently good start, he's taken 2 pretty cheap deaths, and his concern, which could be a lot more, is quite a lot less. It's only sitting on the 4 charges. What is it, Albie?
Did you see this troll Tiny? Centaur trying to TB back to base. Tiny gives him a toss, of course. Cancel that. Tiny's not having any of it.
Your presence is requested by the Tiny, and I say requested, I mean look out below.
Tiny says no.
Tiny with an emphatic no, I was just really not asking, just telling.
Absolutely. And the Centaur Warrunner picking up a Blade Mail, which I think is pretty solid. He is playing that durable frontline initiator role with the Blink Dagger and the Stomps, so I think that makes quite a lot of sense.
Yeah, I'd like to see him pick up a little bit more health. I mean, 1700 is nothing to sneeze at, but against a fairly nuke-heavy lineup, such as your
Timbersaw
and your Death Prophet, I feel like you could... Oh, relocate gank going. Keep your eye on
and
this.
no.
Just checking the
not the
Ancients.
Ancients.
It did have success with that once before,
Mhm.
but not going to be able to find anyone this time. But I think a pretty quality option coming
Yeah.
out from Wisp.
Yeah, good guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely I would go for health on the Centaur Warrunner. There is a lot of magic damage as well as regular physical attack on this Radiant team. Well, physical damage, particularly towards the later game, once the Lifestealer gets more attack damage. And now, well, oh dear, this will almost certainly...
I think he's got a chance. I think he's got to make it. Arrow! Aliquette takes the stone. Just right in the...
Oh, Aliquette, the straight and... Oh no, so safe. Hanging around to see who could do anything for the Wisp, and I hate it when that happens. When you think you may be able to save someone and end up murdering yourself, and now the Lifestealer getting an absolute smashing from that Skyrath Mage, but the Timbersaw doing work on this Bloodseeker.
Yep. The Bloodseeker's trying to escape those ghosts chasing him, and they're gonna force all their damage onto the Skyrath. He just got melted by those ghosts. Meanwhile, the
Tiny is
Timbersaw-
back in, and so is the Centaur Warrunner. This Timbersaw missing his Timber Chain. I think he would have been gone anyway, but unfortunate there. The Death Prophet, the ghosts are out, and the Tiny has got to get back.
Yeah, funny moment there as Timbersaw and Centaur Warrunner popped off each other's blade nails and then started
that's
whacking
great.
each other as hard as they could. Bloodseeker chasing, he's got the
Activate the
down on the
Rupture
Death Prophet.
just after.
TP hard counter.
Yep, too strong.
And if Wisp maybe had a Tether stun, maybe could have, but no.
Tiny
longer.
getting there with the toss just moments too late.
Should just toss the Wisp in from base.
An
I'm pretty sure he can-
interesting courier placement by the Radiant team here, just kind of chilling with this armlet. Now opting to get out of there. I think it's a good decision.
Yeah, I think they've done well there.
Instructions
And now
must
they're
be
trying to
fulfilled.
defend this tier 1 mid. I don't know about this. I think the Mirana didn't know what was around the corner and very lucky to end up surviving this engagement. The tower is just in deny range though, so maybe, just maybe, I love that name, might be looking, yeah, he's just driving it.
He does get
And
it.
he's
He
in
may
deny
pay for this
range.
with his life. Yes, the arrow does go off, and that'll be the end of the
7 in a
Bloodseeker.
row.
Maybe, just maybe too much aggression.
Maybe, just maybe worth it? No, probably not with
Oh,
a 77
no.
respawn. No.
Ow.
It is a reasonable amount of gold, though. I mean, the entire team.
Yeah, but I mean, denying doesn't stop you from getting gold. It just reduces the amount you get.
Yeah, and now he's sacrificed a Roche, really, so...
Yeah, I certainly can't... I can't abide by that decision, just isn't the option I would take. Mirana now picking up the support Lincoln Sphere, so has figured out what you can do with that, and now they're trying the Roche, but Arrow flies in, and that gives it away. Moonlight Shadow being popped off, and Aliquette taking a lot of damage from that Timbersaw Shackle. They're melting Roche fairly quickly.
They should have him down, it should be okay. Skywrath ulti being essentially wasted, and the Lifesteal are picking up the Aegis here. This is not looking good in the slightest for the Dire. Oh, the Tiny in a terrible position. Luckily he has an absolutely ridiculous amount of health and he'll be out okay. The Lifesteal are going down and burning that Aegis. And definitely a win for the Radiant there, who have really turned this around.
Yep, they really were far behind in experience, but they're starting to claw that back a decent amount. Whereas
look at that gold graph. What has been going on here?
Yeah, I think the thing to remember here is that the scale only goes up to 2,000. These will appear, you know, really small. It's all perspective. Maybe re-engaging, try to take down Nostalgia, and to cut a long story short, he won't. He will not be able to.
Throws in the creep with the time. That'll be the end of the Death Prophet. Yeah, I think maybe a little bit, well, maybe a bit overconfident with that Rupture when it's off cooldown. Yeah, Lifesteal are now doing ridiculous damage, and the Timbersaw will take out the Skywrath Mage.
Yep, Tiny tops the Skywrath Mage into its death, but look at Tiny's base move speed. This is 516 when he's not tethered.
5 in a row.
It's a little bit much.
That's crazy.
Trying to pick up the kill on the Wiz, Aliquette running away, pops up the Blade Mail, and Aliquette's gonna escape. This topsy-turvy game is going up and down for both teams, but I think
certainly is
a solid base defense coming out from the Dire.
Yeah, it really was. I think that the Radiant just hasn't been quite responsive enough to when the entire Dire team is respawning, because these team fights have been really quite decisive through the entire game. It's kind of the entire Dire team respawns at the same time and can immediately go on the Radiant.
Yep, it's been a pretty interesting game the way the team fights have panned out, but I think what turned the team fight around the Rosh Pit was the BKB on Death Prophet, with Nostalgia's not being blown up by all the magic damage coming out from the from the Dire team. But Exorcism, which does so much damage, as we mentioned right from the start, is just cleaning house, and I don't think they've got an answer for the Death Prophet. If the Death Prophet manages to pick up another couple of items here, perhaps a Bloodstone, perhaps a Hex, perhaps even an Orchid, depending on what the Death Prophet wants.
Jakiro getting destroyed there.
Relocate ganks, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
And I think that Nostalgia could be perhaps a game-turning player in the rest of this match.
Yeah, I think that a pipe on the Dire team would be a very good investment. I'm not sure who on though. Perhaps it's difficult to say. It gives it a lot of health regen, so it wouldn't be awful on Centaur Warrunner, but I really feel like he just needs to concentrate on getting his health up so that he can survive that burst damage. Yeah, I guess Skywrath could take it, but probably not ideal on him either.
No, I think that Centaur's probably the right carrier for it. The only issue that he might face is if a Necronomicon were to come out. Those do so much mana burn, and he could be made a really impotent force. Double Edge no longer costs mana. That was patched a couple patches ago, but still, it's going to be difficult for him to keep his mana reserves up, seeing as he has gone for a Boosted Travel build. Boosted Travel's really popular in this game. Already seeing them out on the Timbersaw, Centaur, and the Tiny, so...
Now the infested Timbersaw, like we're going to spot out this Skywrath, and it...
Goodbye, no, he doesn't want...
No, he's suspicious about the rest of the team being there.
Oh, look at that moon with the Moonlight Shadow on the infested Timbersaw. That is glitching out.
It certainly is.
That is horrible.
Timbersaw now trying to chase. I don't think he's going to have too much success.
They found maybe, just maybe.
Whoa, they know he's there. They know he's there. Timberchain.
Just Timberchain up there. You don't have to
get in the Rupture. Timberchain out. Timberchain out of there. Get out of there. Timberchain out of there. Good.
Yeah, just baited out the relocate really nicely.
Don't know about jungling at a time like this, but...
No, I think now's not the time. Lovely.
The team is not there in the slightest.
Jakiro the first of all, taken out by the Tiny's AoE damage, but now the Tiny in all sorts of trouble. He's going to try and run away, but he's not going to make it. And another excellent engagement for the Radiant team.
I was surprised, but the Timbersaw really does a lot of damage in these confined spaces. We saw that in the river at mid at the start of the game, and they're just doing crazy damage with that Whirling Death and the Chakram.
Yeah, I think MVP of that fight, perhaps co-MVP with the Timbersaw, was that Jakiro. He laid down a beautiful ice path that managed to split the fight, hit 3 or 4 targets with his dual weapon, made them stand in the macro fire because of the way the terrain works.
Yeah.
So I think, considering that he's been the only real support this whole game, he's been doing a superb job, and in that fight especially. Arrow gonna hit, but no.
Not quite. Yeah, I think these confined spaces have showed that they are not in the Dire's favour.
But Wisp got first hit bash. I mean, the lifesteal is good players. Good players get first hit bashes, bad players don't.
That's just how it works.
That's just science, people.
And how Dota works.
The Dire's mid-range.
Now the melee barracks and the range rack's gonna fall down in the mid lane.
And extremely low, it's gonna have to head back to base. Really need the Tiny and the Bloodseeker. They can't do anything against these bushes. But the Centaur Warrunner is trying. Not gonna have too much luck.
Yeah, he got that Mirana down really low, and I think Moonlight Shadow was popped off defensively. That's a massive win for the Dire team. That's gonna block future pushes for a little bit longer.
Interesting use of smoke by the Jakiro there. I don't think quite realizing that everyone was well out. Oh, Tiny with the relocate gank going in the middle of 3 enemy heroes. The BKB being popped off on the Death Prophet. It's going to get it out just fine.
1, and no, neither of them will get out now, you'd expect. Although Tiny, 516 movement speed.
Skywrath Mage coming in with the slow, and he should be okay now. Oh, the haste rune. Yeah, that will do it.
That's 6 extra move speed. Doesn't even matter. Pick up your drums, Tiny. Pick up your yules.
And he should almost have his heart now, which is going to help against the magic damage of the Radiant team. But when the rest of your team is so squishy, it's not going to be enough, I don't think. I think it's going to be really difficult for the Dire.
Yeah, I mean, you see the Centaur Warrunner has picked up a Reaver of his own, moving towards the heart, and a BKB now being picked up on the Bloodseeker, maybe, just maybe, as soon as he can. So I think that's really going to assist the Dire team in getting through.
Rupture going off on the Timbersaw mid now.
BKB hard counter, yo. Yeah, and it's such a shame for the Bloodseeker. He's picked up a Basher, he knows he needs it, but he can never absolutely stop a TP out. It's not a consistent stun, so just one of the biggest weaknesses of Bloodseeker, even in this new patch.
Definitely.
Even if he does really got to go fast.
Yeah, I do like the BKB on Bloodseeker though. That should make a positive difference to their team fight.
Yeah, you'd expect so. He doesn't have a tremendous amount of damage, but even being able to put the 7 armor reduction on a tiny target, and what I assume will be an AC team, a Centaur perhaps picking it up, maybe Tiny if he's feeling generous, they're going to be able to put out a whole lot of negative armor on heroes that don't always have a lot of armor. Timbersaw without reactive armor is working towards a Shiva Scar, so he'll be okay. He's now ruptured and
That miss on the arrow. I don't know how that arrow missed really, but this looks like it might be a counter initiation by the Dire team. Instantly taking out the Mirana. Those ghosts doing ridiculous damage against the Centaur, but he'll get out just fine. The BKB being popped off on Death Prophet, but getting a bit too eager for the Centaur and letting herself die. And yeah, then the Lifestealer being cleaned up at the end.
How's a Wisp got? He's gotten 2. It's gotten 2 double kills now. I don't know why the Wisp has more kills than the Skywrath, but
interesting. Yeah.
It does. Okay, it simply does.
It's just how it has worked. Skywrath ulti has not really been landing. It can be a bit of a tricky one to land, but
it certainly can be. And I'm somewhat dubious about this item choice from the Skywrath. There is a certain amount of tankiness that comes with the Yules, being able to make yourself invulnerable and the movement speed. But 948 health.
Yep,
I don't
it's
see
silly.
what's wrong with an Atos, what's wrong with
I am a
health
big fan of Atos on Skywrath Mage. It just makes so much sense. All that intelligence, all that health, and a bonus slow. It is just a good item on him.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think I would personally, at this stage, be looking more towards the Heaven's Halberd.
Yeah.
Shutting down that Lifestealer through the Rage, I think, would be really effective. But
Absolutely, and also gaining evasion. I mean, I think his main problem is the spell damage from the Radiant team, but still, I think that it would be a good item.
at 948 health, 45 minutes in, the Light Freeze is your main problem. Like, you have problems
Essentially.
all over the shop. There's really not much to be done. On the other side, Centaur Warrunner has picked up a heart. Tiny finished his heart.
Good.
Death Prophet finished its heart. So a lot of tankiness coming into the game, and this will really extend the fights, which will have a really interesting effect. I'm not sure who that favors. Tiny, I think right now is probably the biggest right clicker in the game, but Mirana, Crobelis, Lifestealer together might have enough. So it's going to be really interesting to see who can get the advantage in these extended, really late mid-game fights, even going into the end-game fights.
Definitely. Looks like Jakiri may be going for a pipe with that Ring of Health and Ring of Regen. And I believe Lifestealer has a Hyperstone.
Radiant's top tower's
He
hurting.
certainly does. He's working towards his AC, and it looks like they're smoking into Rosh, and I think this is an excellent idea. If they can sneak in a Rosh, they will be in such a good spot, but instead they're ignoring that into the side. They're chasing down the Centaur Warrunner. Jules being popped off onto the Timbersaw, but meanwhile Nice Path catches out too. Silence being thrown onto the Skywrath Mage, and he's on the escape, but he's going to be taken down by the Mirana. Meanwhile, on the upside of the fight, Alex will be the second to fall. Bloodseeker running away. Rupture's been popped off onto the Death Prophet, and he's getting low. BKB being popped
Oh
off.
dear, not good for the Bloodseeker, but he manages to get the last hit off on that Death Prophet, but immediately taken down, surrounded by 4 heroes. Not a good decision by him to go in. Again, just being a little over-eager to pick up those kills of the enemy heroes who are low, when he really should have been out of there. And that should be another rack, you would have to think.
Yep, Mirana now taking the high ground.
the
but
buyback
Bloodseeker
for Bloodseeker.
Bloodseeker has fought back. And I think he needs to whip on the top from Tiny, but Bag of Chips
Oh
leads
dear.
in. Tries
Very
to
bad
get this
position for Bag of Chips, but now the Timbersaw kind of caught out.
Tiny trying to get into the fight. Timbersaw Chakra being through. Moonlight Shadow has been popped off, but they do have some
Oh, the
vision.
Rupture going down, and that should be enough to get True Sight on him.
Yep, arrow flying out.
still
from
walking
AoE,
around.
gonna catch the Tiny.
10 health. Timbersaw doing massive damage to these clumped up enemies here. He should be able to take out a Bag of Chips. No, the Skywrath in now. They turn
Through
on
the
him and
cake
take him
coming,
down.
and the Wisp is just there in time to see the blood fall into the soil.
Oof, well, again, the Radiant team just overstaying their welcome slightly.
Yeah, I think it was a very slight thing, maybe just maybe on the Bloodseeker, did manage to kill off the Mirana, and that is what gave him the help to kill off the Lifestealer. So he was lucky to get that last hit. If it hadn't gone to, for instance, to the Tiny, I think the Lifestealer possibly would have lived.
It was a very good Rupture on the Lifestealer as well.
Yeah,
If
certainly would have
Lifestealer had
been
been able to
run.
stay in that fight, I think it might have been quite different.
Yeah. And when that Assault Purist comes out for the Lifestealer, he's going to be so much tankier. Really hasn't shown the level and item progression that you would have hoped from a Midas Lifestealer. Pretty disappointing items for this stage.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the net worth, he is halfway down, being like the Mirana is far ahead of him.
Yeah, but
Not what I would have expected.
we're not going to say the Midas paid off. We
No,
simply,
oh no, no.
no, never.
No, I think that was a poor decision, but it will be interesting to see what Tiny's next option is. He has 3.5k. I would have thought Assault Cuirass, but maybe he'll go a damage item.
Yeah, he's at the shop now. We'll see what he gets. I think a Daedalus could be really effective. It looks like he's going Butterfly, which was probably next down on my list. So another effective item, perhaps not expecting MKBs to be coming out in the near future. And I don't think they will be coming out. Mirana has got the casual Talisman of Evasion with the Belt of Strength sitting in her inventory. Rishon falls, and looks like Ty's got to pick that up. He's got
Oh dear! It's got the arrow and Whispers thinking about it.
thinking. Ember Tiny is going to be able to see this Mirana. They put down a sentry ward. They're going to see it all. Trying to escape
yeah,
now.
Mirana in a bad position. The Timbersaw has been ruptured. That's going to make a big difference.
Alucard taking it to the dome. Popping really hard. He's going to fall.
Good Skywrath ulti going down there on the Mirana.
Mirana dropping low down.
Oh, the Tiny caught out of session with the rest of the team in retreat. And those ghosts should be enough to take him out. He's so low. He does have the Aegis.
They're not going to catch him. He's going to be okay. I believe in you, Tiny. The ghost could fall off. Arrow flying through. Arrow.
So close.
Yep. But even though that fight ended up probably going the way of the Dire,
they didn't get a kill. But yeah, it looks like they may get a bit of Rax here.
Yeah, but they were caught out of position and they survived. I think that's
true fact. A good stomp there by the Centaur War Runner, and the Jakiro getting caught way out of position. The Tiny hurling someone in, giving Death Prophet a good whack with that heart. So effective. The Mirana will go down to the Bloodseeker. Timbersaw now in a lot of trouble, surrounded by 3 heroes and getting stunned out. That'll be the end of him. Dire again, an excellent base defense. And even the Lifestealer might be in trouble now with this ridiculous move speed. Tiny coming in and giving him the avalanche. Oh, that damage.
Yeah, Tiny working very quickly towards finishing off this butterfly, and at that point, I'm not sure that the Radiant will be able to kill him. He's got so much damage on each individual attack. Look at him, that's a 3-shot on the creep wave so far, 1 toss and they're all gone. And I'm really impressed with maybe on the Bloodseeker. He's stayed relevant, which is not always easy to do on a Bloodseeker when your hearts and your boots of travel start to come out on the enemy team. So I'm pretty impressed with how he's doing. Can't say the same for this Lifestealer. He hasn't got the level that he should, and he hasn't had the impact he should.
For sure. Fury has been melted down quite quickly. Doesn't have that survivability.
Exorcism being popped off by Nostalgia, now a BKB. They're trying to take out maybe, just maybe. The structure has been fortified with a tower on very low health.
So much health on all of these heroes. Bag of Chips way out of position, but he's still alive. Eventually going to be taken down, but giving the rest of the team enough time to escape.
Relocate now off cooldown if anyone decides to overextend, but it looks like they will make a clean getaway, and Tiny able to slap down that tower almost instantly. Has got his butterfly money, but may well... No, he doesn't. Yeah. He does not decide to save for his buyback, as I was about to suggest he could.
Yep, so he will finish that off, and I do like the Abyssal Blade on the Bloodseeker.
No,
really needs that damage. Pure damage. And a Reaver coming up on the Wisp there.
Yep, Wisp working towards a...
heart as well.
Yeah, working towards the heart. Brax just falling to this... the creep wave on its own. Probably a little bit of a misplay coming out from the Dire team. It's not worth a whole lot of ranged Brax, but still worth saving. Still gives you a little bit more income. I think it probably was worth taking some care and attention to try and keep that alive.
Yeah, definitely. The Dire team is ahead in terms of their heroes, but not having those racks just makes it so difficult at the end of the game. And like the Radiant team does continue to drop off with spells becoming less and less comparatively powerful, and this Lifestealer is really not carrying as hard as he should be. But now we see a team fight coming out. The Bloodseeker getting burst down extremely quickly, not being able to dish out any damage before he falls. The Tiny will have to retreat out of this. The Centaur is in there. He will fall as well.
Centaur managed to pick up the Timbersaw with his blade mail. Now the Tiny gonna use his Aegis, and all of the Radiant is looking pretty low. Timbersaw falls back, and now rejoining the fight.
That armor toggle on the Lifestealer.
Jakiro getting absolutely slapped down to infinity. Exorcism rolling through the fight, doing so much damage.
Back in.
And now Nostalgius is back on full health. They're going to be chasing out this fight. But the Centaur War Runner and the Skyrath Mage, not the people you want to
Tiny coming back in. This should be enough to turn it around. Timbersaw has gone in too deep after that Centaur War Runner. And that will be the end of him.
Death Prophet does manage to pick up a Wisp, and in the end, a suicide mission, but gets a decently even trade and manages to damage the tier 3 tower pretty badly. I think that's a big win for the Radiant team. If they do that twice more, maybe, they should be able to take these final 2 racks, and I don't see any way back against
Yeah, it's going to be very difficult. And that double death, including a buyback on the Timbersaur, has left his Bloodstone with 2 charges, which is not what you want at this stage in the game.
Yeah, that's disappointing. That always hurts. It feels bad.
It certainly does. The Tiny already amassing a new fortune with 3.8k.
Yeah, he doesn't have buyback at the moment, which is unfortunate for him, but
He actually does it now.
What?
Tiny.
Tiny has buyback?
Yeah, apparently. According to the little thing.
I so don't know how unreliable gold works, but that's just fine. Whatever. Good for him. He should be looking towards, I would think, a damage item at this stage. Satanic is an option, but I don't think that gives him as much damage as he needs. I think MKB would be really effective. You've got to know that Mirana is going to go for some form of evasion. She already has. Timbersaw, Death Prophet, even Lifestealer could be doing the same. So I think getting some True Sight to sort of stop that from becoming an option for the Radiant team would be really, really strong so far as Tiny is concerned. As well as giving you the attack speed, which is especially useful on the Tiny, because you've already got the damage, you just need to be able to put it out as often as possible.
Absolutely, yeah.
God, look at him slap the crates.
It's crazy.
It's a little much.
I can see the Miranas thinking and going for a Heaven's Halberd, but seeing as it is like the carry of the team now, seeing as the Lifestealer has kind of fallen behind, I think I would have rather seen a Butterfly at this point.
Yeah, I tend to agree. I think even a Butterfly might have been a bit passive for my taste. But Mantis Style and the Lincoln Sphere are sort of defensive
They
items.
are, yeah.
But
the pipe, the instant pipe going down on the Central War Runner.
Yeah, have you got a pause there?
I do have a pause.
Alright, I'm going to skip forward and I will tell you where the Promised Land is.
Okie dokie.
Yep. Oh, there it is. Looks like about 109.30 or so? Where was it? I skipped past it a bit. Yeah, if you meet me at 109.35.
Coming.
Alright then.
Okay, yeah, at 35. Ready in 3, 2, 1, go.
Go.
And it looks like the Bloodseeker has stuck himself on a cliff. Interesting. Force Staff backfiring on him here because he is now surrounded by the enemy team who have just come out of smoke. They know he's around. They know he's somewhere, but they can't see him.
This is the greatest new meta I've ever seen.
This is why you don't buy Force Staff.
No, he forced stuff up there and he broke the smoke. But now they're suiciding, they're kamikaze.
Oh, why is this TP? This TP is the suicide. Oh, it is the Tiny. He's going to be okay with that. Tethering by the Wisp. Central War Runner is right in the middle of that. The Skywrath ulti almost irrelevant at this point, doing hardly any damage to those two heroes.
Bloodseeker trying to run away on the backline. Mirana's not going to be able to catch him, and the Exorcism running through this team. Tiny chasing down Death Prophet, seeing what it can do. Get these wisps out of my hand!
Oh, those jukes by the Death Prophet, doing ridiculous damage before finally falling. Taking down the Tiny with her. Oh, an unfortunate miss on the Centaur Stomp. And the Lifestealer.
Getting first hit bash on the back of Mirana, getting evasion a couple of times.
And this Centaur do enough damage. Not with the Timbersaur in there as well. Now the Bloodseeker comes in.
Bloodseeker, no.
It's going to be a little close. A little bit close. Bloodseeker, come back in here! Bloodseeker, this is what you're made for!
He's got one
Surely Timbersaur's going down. Surely the silence. What happened to that silence? He silenced himself!
3 down.
Gets the triple kill. Who are we to doubt this man? Tiny back into this game. And there are buybacks available on both the Death Prophet and the Lifestealer. Mirana will have one available in about 30 seconds. I don't think she'll end up needing to use it, but what play out of that Bloodseeker. He managed to take out 3 of them. Virtually, kills that wouldn't have happened without him. So
That's true. That is true.
I'm going to go ballsy play.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it was good that he stayed in there even though he was low. And yeah, kept himself relevant.
Yep.
Too many people just ran out of the fight at that point, but yeah.
Yep. Also really impressed by this Central War Runner. He's making himself a terrible nuisance with his blink stun, with his tremendous health, with his pipe use and his blade mail. I think he's doing a really excellent job, and now looking to go for this LA Rams.
his blade mail really has been excellent, and that blink has been, and blink stomp has been just useful all game.
Now Exorcism has been popped off by the Death Prophet. Now a BKB use really committing to this, but you can't catch this.
You can't.
You can't do it. He is
Not in the slightest. He is the race car Tiny. He is absolutely out of control, and he's now got the helm of the Dominator, likely working towards a Satanic, I suppose.
Yeah, disappointing for me. I think an MKB was really the option here. Maybe a Devilus, but I think Satanic, just not the option.
I think damage.
You need to be able to hit your opponent, and that Mirana, now possibly the biggest damage dealer.
She's not even the hugest damage dealer, and as an agility carry, she's still somewhat squishy. Well, squishier than, say, the Tiny with his 4,100 health.
Oh,
so
yeah.
Dishing out the damage will take care of her pretty quickly.
Yep, Skywrath Mage has gone towards a Halberd, which I thoroughly approve of.
Yep, for sure.
And now the lowest health on his team with 1,700.
Quite ridiculous.
Death Prophet has picked up a Refresher Orb.
Oof.
All they want to do is kamikaze this final tower. They know Glyph is still on cooldown, but it looks like they're going to be a little bit of backdoor action. Helm of the Dominator used on the street. Now they relocate ganking the barracks. They're going to take it down. The Death Prophet. They're going to put their pants down. I don't know how Radiant can respond to this.
Slapping it. Oh, that damage is out of control. The Timbersaw can't do anything against this. Oh, the Tiny getting taken back. A critical error from the Wisp. Oh, no.
Refresher Orb was popped off. Centaur Warrunner sacrifices his life trying to take down that tower, and he will end up getting it. Flies back into the game, and they're being backdoored on the other end. Mirana dissuades it from using that TP by sending out an arrow, but now Mirana's in trouble, being taken down by the Centaur Warrunner, and the Tiny leaps away from danger, but being tossed in. He wants it, but they still don't have to take it.
Meanwhile, the Wisp will go down at mid. Most likely, yes. And they won't make it to the Mirana.
This is intense.
This is intense. That was crazy. That just turned the whole thing on its head.
It's sundown.
So unfortunate that the Wisp took the Tiny back, I think.
Yep, the Ancient for the Dire team now on only 2.7k health. It's taken a good 15
slowly regenerating.
Creeps. It is regenerating, and frankly, it's...
and meanwhile, both tier 4 towers being taken down at the Radiant side.
Yeah, I don't think...
A mass TP now to the Radiant side of the map. Everyone on Dire has gone here except for the Skywrath Mage. They're trying to TP back in time, but they're all going straight for the throne.
It's got protection, they can't do
it.
It doesn't have
that damage. They're just standing in that chakram. Tiny can't do it. He's out of health.
He hasn't got buyback either. That's still on cooldown.
Rupture going down on the Mirana, and that should be the end of her.
It should. It should. He's disarmed. He gets it.
Oh dear.
Mirana buys back.
Oh wow.
And I think the buybacks might be what decides this fight.
Both Ancients so low.
The only heroes on the map to have them. This is getting a little bit crazy.
This is quite crazy. That mass TP into the Radiant side of the map, it was a good attempt, but they were just all standing in that chakram taking ridiculous damage. And now the relocate
ganking the throne. They're taking it down. Meanwhile,
there's on the ice path.
Bloodseeker's got to be able to take it down. He's slapping it.
Oh.
What a game.
Oh my god.
G.
Those last 10 minutes, absolutely insane. Things happening so fast there.
The BM coming out from Blizzard. That is rude, and I for one won't stand for it. But in the end, really, I think a decently high quality game. There were a couple of questionable plays, as there always are, but a nice game. I hate backdooring, but that was as exciting as it gets. The Throne for Dire ended up well below 1,000 health.
Yeah, definitely. Really good game. I really liked the Tiny and Centaur Warrunner in particular. I think they played really well. Lifestealer, unfortunately, not getting quite as farmed as he could have. But yeah, overall, a really enjoyable game, I think.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the last hit total on the Tiny, it's 1 under 400, 399. That's well over double the life stealer.
Indeed, and the gold per minute also showing a quarter more. So, yeah, the lifesteal just not quite getting the levels and item progression that he needed.
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Mittens.
Thank you so much, Albie. What a game.